We continue now at the top of Daf Kufiyud Beizam at Aleph and Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 112a. The Gemara is in the middle of bringing a brisa with a number of sources to the idea that a husband inherits his wife, and the Gemara now is in the brisa now is in the middle of bringing the pasuk that talks about the fact that Yair seemed to have property that his father Seguv did not have. How did Yair have property that Seguv did not have? Yair again it teaches that Yair married a woman, V'Mason, she died, V'Yarsh, and he inherited her, and so you see this idea that the husband inherits the wife, and so the Gemara now wants to know, why does this part of the Brisa bring so many different sources for the same idea? Mai va'omer, why is it that we say va'omer, we keep bringing other psukim to the idea that a husband inherits the wife? And the Gemara explains, v'chitema besibas haben kakapit krab, because maybe you'll say there is another way, the original psukim that the Brisa brought were ideas that the property shouldn't go from one tribe to another tribe. Now the assumption was, how is it that the property would have went from one tribe to the other? The idea would be that a husband inherits his wife, so therefore the property was originally with the shevet of the wife, and then it goes to the shevet of the husband, and that's why again the pasuk is talking about the idea that maybe the woman has to marry someone from her own shevet. But there is another way to understand the pasuk. It could be the pasuk is not talking about the property transferring because it goes from wife to husband. That's what the Gemara means. Maybe what the pasuk is talking about is when the property transfers from one shevet to the other through the son, because another way the property can transfer to a different shevet is when a son inherits from his mother. So there, let's say again in that situation, the son is considered to be from the tribe of his father, and now the property is going from the mother to the son. It's leaving one shevet and going to the other shevet. You could interpret the psukim that way. Lo yaris, maybe a husband does not inherit from his wife, and so that's why we bring another pasuk, Tashma, we bring this other pasuk, Velosisav Nachala, Lifnei Yisrael, Mimata Lamata, we don't want the inheritance to go in Klal Yisrael from one tribe to the other tribe. But that's the same pasuk. So but maybe you'll say that pasuk is also talking about sibas haben, and it's just trying to say that we don't want there's going to be a negative and a positive commandment when that happens, when the property transfers from one shevet to the other. So it's still no proof that a husband inherits from his wife. So tashma. So that's why I bring another pasuk. Lo sisav nachala mimata l'matar acher. We don't want the inheritance to transfer from one tribe to the other tribe. But still v'chitema. But maybe you'll still say that it's still talking about the son, the transfer happening from the mother to the son, and lavar olav b'shnei lavin v'yaseh. Maybe it just means that there's two negative commandments and a violation of a positive commandment when the inheritance is going to be transferred from one tribe to the other. So that's why Tashma, that's why the Brisa brings another pasuk via Elazar ben Aaron Meis v'gomer, saying that Elazar had property that Elazar died and Pinchas had property that Elazar did not have. And so how did he have that property? Because again, he married someone and he inherited from his wife. But the Gemara says, but maybe you'll say to that, Elazar who the nasiv idasav amesa v'yarsa Pinchas. Maybe it's not that Pinchas married somebody and he inherited from his wife. Maybe Elazar married a woman and now that was Pinchas's mother, and maybe Pinchas inherited from his mother. It's still no proof that a husband inherits from his wife. So Tashma, so that's why we bring another proof. U'Seguv hold it as Yar. We bring a proof from Seguv, who gave birth to Yair. Yair had property that Seguv did not have. But the Gemara says, V'chitema, but maybe you'll say, Hasam Nami Hachihu, that over there also it's the same thing. It's not that Yair had property from his wife. Maybe Yair had property from his mother, and that would have been the wife of Seguv. And so the Gemara says, Im Kain Trei Kroi Lamali. The Gemara says, no, but if that were the case, you wouldn't need two psukim. The fact that you have two psukim stating this, that shows that there's a way of the nachal, of the inheritance, going from one tribe to the other, not only from mother to son, but also from wife to husband. But the Gemara still says, Amarle Rapapa li Abai, Rapapa says to Abai Mimai, but still, how do you have a proof? Dilma liolam emalach bal lo yaris. Maybe really I'll say to you that a husband does not inherit. Ukroi besibas haben kiddeshaninon. And again, the psukim are talking about when it goes from the mother to the son, as we said. And maybe these psukim have nothing to do with inheritance. V'yoyer dezavin mizvan. And what happened is that Yoyer, he actually just bought property. Who says that he was inheriting property that his father did not have? Maybe he bought property. Upinchas nami dezavin mizvan. And we'll say the same thing by Pinchas. He just bought property. That's why he had property that did not belong to his father. Why do you have to say that these psukim are talking about inheritance at all? And so the Gemara says, Amarle said back to him, Pinchas dezav and mizvan lo matzas amrit. You can't possibly say that Pinchas bought the property. Because if so, nimtzis sadeh choseres biyovel. The halach is if you buy property, those fields return to their original owners in Yovel, and this property was being used as a burial site. It was being used to bury Elazar. V'nimtza tzadik kaver bekever sheino shalom. Now you can't bury somebody in an area that's going to return, that field is going to return to its original owner, because it would come out that this tzaddik, meaning Elazar is buried in a burial place that doesn't really belong to him. Even if Pinchas would have bought the property, it would revert to its original owner, and so therefore that cannot be the case. But the Gemara still says Elaima, but still we can say the Naflalei Mistei Charamim. We're talking here about Kohanim, and there's a concept of Stei HaCherim. There's a concept of certain fields when they become hektish, they end up going to the Kohanim, and maybe that's how Pinchas got this property. So still, it's not really a proof. But the Gemara continues, Amar Abaya says, Sof, still at the end, isn't the nachala, isn't the inheritance anyway going to switch over from the tribe of the mother to the tribe of the father? And Abaya here is asking in general. We brought psukim before that said that let's say a woman inherits property, so the halach is, the pasuk says she should marry somebody from the same tribe as her father, because if she does not marry someone from the same tribe as her father, so then that inheritance that she had is going to end up switching shvatim. It's going to go from her father's shevet over to the shevet of her husband. And now the truth is, this is true regardless of whether you say a husband inherits his wife or not. If the husband inherits his wife, so certainly if the husband is from a different tribe, that nachala, that inheritance is going to go to the husband, it's going to switch tribes. Even if you say a husband does not inherit his wife, it is certainly true that a son inherits from his mother, and so still, if she's going to marry somebody from a different tribe, the property is going to go down to her son, and it's going to switch tribes. That was the idea of the pasuk of why this woman who inherits property has to marry someone from the same tribe as her father. But Abai is now asking, that whole thing doesn't make sense, because at the end, let's say this particular girl, let's say her father was from one tribe and her mother was from a different tribe, and now she inherits the property. So the tribe from her father, that property which she inherits, so if she marries a husband from the same tribe as her father, so then it's going to stay within the tribe. But the property from her mother, that's already switched tribes, because that's gone from the shevet of her mother, now to her, she's really considered to be from the shevet of her father. So therefore, nothing has helped here at all in a situation where she's going to inherit property. Anytime you're going to have a situation where a husband is from one shevet and the wife is from a different shevet, you're going to have a situation where the children are going to inherit and it's going to switch tribes. That's Abaya's question over here. He's saying, sof at the end, hakamisakra nachala, still the nachala is being uprooted, mishifta di'ima l'shifta di'aba. It's always going to be uprooted from the tribe of the mother to the tribe of the father. What does it help to say that a daughter who inherits property should marry somebody from the same tribe as her father? But the Gemara says, no, Mimai, how do you know that's really a problem? Vidil mashani hasam shekvar husba. Maybe that's different because it's already switched tribes, meaning there's already been somewhat of a switch when you have a situation of the husband being from one shevet and the wife being from a different shevet. So now, of course, the children, the daughter, let's say in this case, is going to inherit. That's a little bit of a switch of the property from one shevet to another. But to now increase that by saying that this daughter should go ahead and marry somebody from a different tribe, that might be more of a problem. But Amarle, but he said back to him, Shekvar Huspalo Amina, we wouldn't say that argument. The fact that it's already switched, therefore that makes it okay, that wouldn't make any sense. But the Gemara continues, Amarle Rav Yemer le Rav Ashi. So Rav Yemer said to Rav Ashi, Iyamr b'shalom Shekvar Huspa. Now, if you're going to say correctly that we do apply this idea of Kvar Huspa, we don't care if there's a switch that already happened, so to speak. If you're going to say that we don't care about so much, so Hainu de Mesuk Makura ben Besibas Haben ben Besibas Habal, then you could at least understand the psukim in it. You can understand the psukim whether they're talking about a switch happening through the son, that the son inherits his mother, or whether it's the switch happening from the fact that the husband inherits the wife. It's the same thing. You can at least understand the psukim. But if you're going to say that we don't say kvar huspa, that we do say it's just as problematic, the fact that the daughter is inheriting property from her mother and it's essentially switching tribes, so when she goes ahead and marries somebody from the same tribe as her father, what does that help at all? It doesn't help at all. Aren't we still uprooting the inheritance from the tribe of the mother to the tribe of the father? Essentially, he's saying, if you're not going to say kvar huspa, if you're not going to say that the fact that it's already switched, we don't see that as a problem, if you're going to say that is a problem, so then how have you solved the problem at all? You haven't solved it in any fashion at all if she marries somebody from the same tribe as her father, because you still have a switch of the inheritance. You still have it going from her mother's tribe, she inherited it, now it's going over to her father's tribe, even if she's going to marry somebody from the same tribe as her father. And so the Gemara finally says, no, there is actually a solution. Because we can say that she has to marry a person, whose father is the same shevet as her father, and the mother is the same shevet as her mother. And what the Gemara means to say is, if we are okay with the fact that this daughter is inheriting property from her mother, and essentially that property from her mother has switched tribes somewhat, because now it's going from her mother's tribe to her father's tribe, if we would be okay with that, we could understand how there's a solution if we make her marry someone from her father's tribe, because it's not only that we're making her marry someone from her father's tribe, we're also saying that that husband, his own mother, should be from the same tribe as her mother. And if that would happen, so then essentially the property hasn't really switched at all, because the property was inherited by her, and she's a mixture of both of these shvatim. Her mother is from one tribe, her father from the other, and now she marries a husband, and he has the same thing. His father is from the same tribe as her father, his mother is from the same tribe as her mother, and so then we would say that that would be somewhat of a solution to this problem. We can understand the psukim in that fashion, and we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Kuf Yud Beis Amud Beis.